Hello and welcome to World 360, where we talk about the three major global affairs of the week. First, let's talk about China's crackdown on the country's largest unregistered Christian church network, the Zion Church. The Chinese authorities detained about 30 religious leaders of Zion Church in overnight raids on Sunday across many cities. Those arrested included church staff, a dozen of pastors, and also the founder of Zion Church, Jin Mingri. This move drew criticism from many countries who have urged the Chinese government to release the priests, including US Secretary of State Marco Rubio, who said on Sunday in a statement that this crackdown further demonstrates how the CCP exercises hostility towards Christians who reject party interferences in their faith and choose to worship at unregistered house churches. Meanwhile, the Chinese Foreign Ministry spokesperson said that he was not aware of the case. He said the Chinese government governs religious affairs in accordance with the law and protects the normal religious activities. We firmly oppose the US interfering in China's internal affairs with so called religious issues. This contentious clampdown also came just a month after China came up with new guidelines banning clergies, including Catholic priests, from teaching, evangelizing, or engaging in quote foreign collusion on online platforms. Moreover, the Chinese government allows congregations to operate openly only with the state's approval, and all unofficial congregations that are not state approved are totally banned in China. The Zion Church said in its statement on arrest of their priests that such systematic persecution is a public challenge to the international community. It is to note that the network of Zion Church includes around 10,000 people spread across 40 cities in the country. It was officially banned by the CCP in 2018 after the church reportedly denied government's push to install security cameras at its Beijing property. Still, until now, the church has continued sharing its teaching online while it closed many of its local congregations all over China. Remember, Chinese government, which largely promote atheism, often even urges the ordinary citizens to inform the police about unsanctioned religious gatherings, sometimes calling them as cults. Now let's come to Madagascar. The African and mineral rich nation is on the edge of a military coup and a deep political crisis following the weeks of Gen Z protests and widespread defections in the army. Now, Madagascar is an island country in the Indian Ocean with a population of approximately 32 million. On Tuesday, the special military unit CAPSET of the Madagascar army joined the Gen Z led protest and announced that they would take over power. The CAPSET chief, Colonel Michael, stood outside the presidential palace with a large crowd of demonstrators. People cheered the troops as they stood on armored vehicles in the streets of the capital. The public reaction to the military takeover in Madagascar was overwhelmingly one of celebration and relief. While addressing them, Colonel Michael said that the military would form a government and hold election within 2 years. He also declared to suspend all important democratic institutions like the Electoral Commission, except for the lower house of parliament or the National Assembly. This move came hours after the country's National Assembly voted to officially remove President Andrei Rajoelina from office on the basis that Rajoelina had abandoned his post. Because on Monday, Rajoelina fled the country. He said in a national broadcast that he had moved to a safer place. While not disclosing his whereabouts, he vowed not to allow Madagascar to be destroyed. According to the UN, at least 22 people were killed and more than 100 were injured in the violent clashes within the security forces in the deadly protests. With a military led transitional government and growing unrest among protesters, the future of Madagascar remains uncertain. Now let's understand the bilateral ties held between Argentine President and Donald Trump. US President Trump met Argentine President Javier Milei on Tuesday at the White House, just a day after the US agreed to provide a massive financial lifeline package to their key regional ally. The cornerstone of this deal is a swap of $20 billion with Argentina's central bank for pesos. Full details of this deal are yet to be disclosed. Meanwhile, Argentina is going to have midterm congressional elections. Voicing his support for President Javier, Trump said, "He may not win, but I think he's going to win. And if he wins, we are staying with him, and if he doesn't win, we are gone." The announcement of $20 billion deal triggered a surge in Argentine bonds and stocks. It eased pressure on the pesos. It was also said to be a rare example of direct US involvement in Latin American currency markets, notably underlining Washington's strategic interest in Milei's success. Now, it is important to note that when Milei took charge, he told people of his country to expect radical measures on the economy front, which he did, a result of which was a cut in inflation and poverty rate. Take, for example, the poverty rate, which fell from 42% in 2023 to 32% in 2024. But the country's economy has stagnated, and Milei is under pressure from the citizens of his country as well as his critics ahead of key midterm elections. That's all for now. This is Varnika Dhawan. Thank you for watching The Print.